Welcome to the B-Sides and Beers podcast.
Welcome to B-Sides and Beers episode 71. Tonight we're finally focusing on the mighty Megadeth. What's going on, guys?
Yeah! Singing Megadeth all day. Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Fan-friggin-tastic.
Excellent.
Nice.
It's kind of a collective joint topic on this. I think we all agreed that this would be a good one to cover next.
Well, we've been talking about it. It's been a part of the podcast for all the long-time listeners since the start. So
Yeah,
it's about time that we actually focus on it and dig a little deeper past the jokes and jokes and jokes.
there'll still be some of those, though.
There's so many.
Gotta have some
So many
jokes.
good ones.
Yeah. Let's start off with the drinks, though, before we talk about the music. So, Mike, let's start with you. What do you got going on?
Well, this evening, I am taking a cue from you from, I don't know, a couple weeks back, maybe a month ago. You dove into some Spectrum Beer Co.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that multi-pack with the coffee style beers. Yeah, so I have tonight an Irish cream and coffee ale.
Nice.
I have a pumpkin spice latte ale.
Got your pumpkin spice.
We got the vanilla latte ale. And we have the caramel mocha macchiato ale.
Yeah. Nice. So you got the full
Fantastic.
pack.
I got the full
Awesome.
pack. It was a solid score. So grab those, and these guys are out of Vancouver.
Awesome. And have you tried any of those yet?
I have tried all of them, and this is my second round of trying all of them, and they are delicious.
Fantastic. Yeah, I just had a
Yep.
single. It was just like a loner in the cooler. So I was like, and then when I looked it up, I saw it was part of that pack. So that's awesome. You got a chance to grab
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
Who's the brewery?
It took some searching, but I did. Pardon?
Who's the brewery?
That's the Spectrum
Spectrum.
Beer Co. out of Vancouver.
Oh, yeah.
on the list.
These are all 5%. Yeah.
on the list. Nice. Dane, what do you got?
I am currently working on an Ace Brewing Jet Fuel West Coast IPA. This one's coming in hot at 7%.
Nice.
So
I love that
I
can.
figured I'd. Oh, yeah.
I miss the air
Ace
shows,
is-
man. I miss like the Nemeo air
Oh,
shows.
dude.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are such a good time. Hey, like, so, yeah. Anyways, sorry, I'm just getting off
Oh,
track on
man.
that, but they were so much fun.
Jet truck and
Yeah, like walking
snowbirds.
walking
and,
through a Hercules and
Yeah, walking through a Herc.
sitting in an F-14, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, this is the next best thing.
yes, indeed.
Ace Brewing, job well done. Next, I've got a Moon Underwater Potts Pills. Yeah, I've had this before. Pretty good.
Who's that? Who's the brewery? Sorry,
Moon Underwater.
nice. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so this is Victoria. So I've got Courtney Victoria, and I think this is the Vancouver here. This is that Haifa project.
Oh yeah,
So they've got some crazy stuff going as far as their art. And that's a Takasudo, MrTacoSudo.com. Spelled as it sounds. That's the guy who's doing the art. So this is a Inceptional IPA. Inceptional.
the first IPA ever.
6.5%. I suppose so. Yeah, so these guys are, Pal Street, Vancouver.
Nice.
Haifa project. So, yeah, I dug that. I forget what it was. I think it was like a pale ale of some sort that I had before. And excited to try this one. So,
Nice. I kind of went back there. I couldn't find anything that was like new and fancy, so I thought like maybe I was gonna kind of just highlight like maybe my favorite beer that I've had maybe so far, and then like my favorite like mixer pack. So that's kind of what I bought because like I said I looked and I was like I've either tried this all or I don't want to drink something gross. So my pack of the year I think is the Whistler Brewing Company because it's got a good mix. Like I've talked about this where I like trying the different kinds. So this one's got the hazy trail pale ale, the Mountaineer Pilsner, and the grapefruit ale. All of which are fantastic.
Nice.
And it's the only one that doesn't have an IPA in it. Like most packs have the IPA, and this one doesn't. So when I'm not feeling the IPAs, I can hit that.
There you go. What's that grapefruit? It's a
group
sour.
Just a grapefruit ale. So it's just got grapefruit like in it, and it just
infused.
Yeah, it's good, and it's good in the summertime too. That's like a go-to. And I've drank this on here before, but I'm going back to it again. The Red Truck beer. This is my pick of the podcast so far. The Paloma Wheat.
Nice.
The natural grapefruit and lime, and I guess grapefruit is a common theme through these. I guess I like the grapefruit beers, so. No big surprise, but there it is. That's my picks of the year. If anybody cares to know, that's my favorite ones that I've drank so far as mixer packs and singles. Megadeth, gentlemen. Megadeth.
Beauty.
Megadeth. You know what? The great thing about this podcast is it is incredibly valuable at not only changing your perspective, inserting, taking out the foot that has been inserted in your mouth.
Yeah. Walking things back a bit.
Yeah, opening your ears to new stuff, which I've always sort of kind of scoffed at my entire life. So here we go.
Yeah.
Life changed. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat, dude.
Yeah,
Where
me
do
too.
we start?
Me too. Yeah, like it was just like I kind of. I mean, I started from the beginning. I don't know if you guys did or not, but like I went all the way back 100%. To 1985, and killing is my business, and business is good.
Business is good.
Yeah. And I mean, it's okay. Like I didn't love this first album. I don't know about you guys, but it's all right. Like it kind of feels kind of rushed and a little bit like unprofessional at times, but maybe it's just the first album, and it obviously gets much better as I go along. But I don't know what you guys thought of that.
Right.
Okay.
Well, with that one, it was definitely, straight off of all the butthurt from the Metallica boys to Dave Mustaine and the lack of funding, I guess, because they sort of got screwed over by their record label, and I think they only gave them like $8,000 or something to record this album.
Yeah.
So that's why it sounds how it sounds.
Another thing too, like that. Oh, you like it, Dane? Yeah, you like that album?
I love it. Yeah. It's gritty. I've read some reviews, and they've called Dave Mustaine an amateur on this record. I like it. It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But for me, I was, I've heard of this album. I never really gave it a chance until a couple days ago, and I've listened to it a bunch. It's great.
Yep. Yeah. I definitely love the album. Going back, but not digging into these for so many decades almost. I've listened to a lot of this stuff in like 20 years, other than, bits and pieces of, certain songs from a specific album, but not really diving into the whole discography of it, I guess. I mean, going back to this, it is full of the hatred.
Yeah.
And it's very on point from Dave, and he's starting his agenda, and this album is definitely a huge fuck you to Metallica.
Yes.
I'm coming for you kind of a thing. It's like, when he puts out Mechanics on that off of that album, and it's basically the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Just sped up and changed lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's right on the tails, and that was basically where Dave was coming off of Metallica. I mean, right from the moment that he got kicked out of the band and got sent on this bus ride home with nothing but a fucking bag of potato chips and his guitar.
New York to LA.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so on that whole trip from New York to LA, it's just trying to figure out what happened and setting up his goals to either compete and or destroy.
Whoever
Right.
was sitting next
So-
to Dave on that bus ride on the way home was like witnessing everything he's writing down lyrics on cupcake wrappers. He's coming up with the name. He's like drawing out
the
his
band name, yeah.
T-shirts. Like he's doing everything on that bus ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you stack this up against, Killing Is My Business next to Kill 'Em All, I think Killing Is My Business takes it.
They're both amazing for different reasons. But well, you
Yeah.
think too, Dave wrote what, 4 songs off of
Kill 'Em
on
All,
that
yeah.
album, or off of Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, Phantom Lord, and Metal Militia.
And like 2 off of Ride
So-
Lightning too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, right there, I mean, the comparison is there from, he had a heavy role in writing a huge chunk of Kill 'Em All, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That must have been crazy, man. When that thing
So good.
Kill 'Em All comes out and it's it's your songs and he's sitting in
getting
LA
credit.
at his parents' house listening to that. It's just that's gotta have been tough.
But at the same time, what if Kill 'Em All didn't hit? Would
But it
there?
did.
Would
He wasn't in the
but
band.
it did. But would the conversation would change pretty drastically, right?
Yeah. Wouldn't even have been one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hindsight is sitting here at 2022. In hindsight, I mean, he fucking did it.
Yep.
Jokes aside, he did his own thing, and is very successful at it.
Yeah, and easily one of the most influential thrash bands ever, or metal bands in general ever.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Just flashing back to our Woodstock 99 episode, I watched some of their Woodstock 99 performance.
How was it?
yeah,
Nobody cared, but it was great.
Yeah.
Like I thought, I mean, it was obviously the wrong crowd there, right? Like
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, but yeah, I thought it was awesome. He was right on point. Yeah, it was great.
I mean, if you're expecting a Megadeth show, then it's awesome.
Yep.
But if you rocked up and you're just like, I can't wait for Limp Bizkit, maybe I'll check out Megadeth. It's probably not going to be the most exciting
No,
visual show anyway.
no,
Yeah.
not at all, not at all.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Peace Sells. I mean, we're not going to go through the entire discography, but I think these
Yeah,
first
yeah.
few albums are probably important to speak about. But
definitely.
I thought this album is solid. This is kind of like front to back. I listened to it like 3 times, and I thought it was great.
Yep. And it's really cool when you're looking at the albums, how they came out with the different lineup changes between all the albums, and you could tell from start to finish, from 85 to today, it's all Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the talent, the talented members. Well, I guess Dave Ellefson was massive with that, right from the beginning too. I mean, being the 2, starting members
Yeah.
of the band. But I mean, switching out different drummers and different guitar players, it's damn good.
Well, and it's the same thing. It sounds in 2022, the album that he just came out with has a very similar formula to all the rest of these, right? So,
Totally.
like you said,
Totally.
the kind of brand is there. He's got that down.
Yeah.
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 It's just getting more and more polished with every album.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, T, I agree with you. I mean, To be honest, this is a pass for me. This
Really?
album's a pass. Yeah. I think it's too mixed up. Think they're into too many drugs, and I get it. Like I see how they've sort of really fortified that Megadeth sound. It is definitely an evolution from the previous album, but what I'm kind of getting at here, I think the cool thing about this album, if I can say some positive stuff, is you really get to see, it is Mustaine 100%, but this Gar Samuelson guy is regarded as one of the, innovators in thrash drumming, sort of incorporating that jazz fusion. And that sort of carries on continuously for, up until the latest album. Very, very drum orientated to keep up with the speed of the guitars, obviously. Totally. And I think this is sort of where we begin to see one of the things that, and we'll get to my favorite album that's coming up, but you can hear all the instruments, at least starting here up until Rest in Peace.
Yep.
Before things get like very polished, you can hear every instrument, which is awesome. And really, it's a rare thing in thrash, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I really love how Dave's, let's go. Ellefson, the other Dave, how his bass in all the songs, it's in the forefront.
It's there.
Especially the intro to every song. It's Dave's guitar and Dave's bass.
Yeah.
And right at the forefront for the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or whatever it is. But
Dave has to make it known that he has written the beginning bass line for Peace Cells, though. Nobody else did that but Dave. Okay, so
Right.
just so you know that.
These are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know.
Okay, so far so good. So what?
Okay.
This was a miss for me. I didn't.
Yeah. It was definitely a blip in the catalog. Mostly whenever you're talking, it just to anyone that has ever followed Megadeth, that has just been, it's almost like an EP that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah. I only listened to it once, and it didn't do much for me, and I kind of moved on from it because I was more excited to get to Rest in Peace than anything else. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is like you said, Dave. This is when it gets super polished at this point, but this is when the lineup changes. And this is when it kind of gets into the next few years, the next few albums of this lineup. This is a solid album. This is another fantastic one. Yep.
And bringing Marty Friedman in on guitar.
Oh yeah.
Hot damn! Like he's his own entity. It's unreal. And even till today, he's, it's hard to touch.
Absolutely.
And produced by Mike Klink, same guy that did Appetite.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and this is 1990. So 2 years later, he's right in the thick of that.
Yeah. And it's got that essence, right? It's got, there's clarity to it. The arrangements are good. It makes sense. It's just, I've been listening to Holy Wars non-stop for the past month or so.
It feels like it's one of the first ones that's tuned down. Right when it starts out. I don't know what it is, but you can tell right off the bat. It's different. And it feels like Megadeth gets heavier at this point for me. It gets faster, it gets heavier, and it gets tighter. That's what
it's almost as if they've set their sights on Slayer at this point. He's done with Metallica, and he's all right, we're technical as shit. Yeah,
that's also kind of a funny comparison too, with Kerry King being a live guitar player for Megadeth for a couple months.
Yeah, right.
80,
and then deciding to leave.
83 or something. Yeah.
It's
I'm going back to, I can't deal with Dave's shit, so I'm gonna go back to Slayer. And
this is my favorite album out of the the entire catalog. I would say this album is hands down. It's up there as far as like thrash goes. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
This is well, maybe we should move on to the next one because like the Countdown to Extinction is kind of the first Megadeth album I ever heard. Like
Right.
that was because
Yep.
I remember that album cover and
Well, Symphony of Destruction is the song that stood out on all music video channels.
Which one?
Symphony of Destruction, and I don't really
Symphony
know
of
why.
Destruction.
Like it's
Sweating Bullets as well, right?
Yeah.
Like that one.
But you look at Symphony of Destruction or Symphony of Destruction. It's such a simple.
Yep.
It's easy to digest. So even if you're not a massive thrash fan, once that comes on MTV or Much Music or whatever, it's you can latch on because it just sticks in your head.
Yeah, I would say this is where it gets. I don't want to say gimmicky, but definitely like when you take a look at what's happening here in 1990, you got Metallica's self-titled Black Album, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a shift, almost a pivot, different, slowed down. Same thing with Countdown to Extinction, I think. This is 2 years later, but I think it's sort of following the same formula. Let's make it MTV friendly. Let's get some videos out. Let's break the mainstream, and they did with this album.
Totally.
you guys ready for some hot facts?
Already?
Pause. You want to pause it right here? It's a nice place to segue into the hot facts.
Hot fact, hot fact, hot fact.
Because I have, why don't I give you one hot fact?
Facts.
Countdown to Extinction was the very first album that Dave Mustaine recorded sober.
Really? I thought it was Rest in Peace.
No.
No. He was, well, that was a blip in his sobriety because, I mean, everything after that, Megadeth almost completely went away just because of that.
Went away.
Well, totally, Matt. I mean, it just, with the amount of times that he went in and out of rehab, and when you're at the point where, you've got Guns N' Roses, you've got Megadeth, and you've got Motley Crue, and the music couldn't be, farther apart genre rock-wise or metal-wise, but these three, all the characters in all these bands were the same level of self-destruction.
Fair
and
enough.
drugs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just waiting to explode again, right?
yeah.
The artist who did the cover work for Countdown to Extinction, I looked the guy up. He has done like a ton. He has done every Rush album, and he also played keyboard on a few Rush albums.
That cover looks very Rush, I was going to say.
Shut the fuck.
Hugh Syme. That's
couldn't
his
quite
name.
put my
Hugh
finger on it.
Syme. He designed all the cover art for Rush.
Yeah.
And it's
Hold up. So
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
that cover, it's the first one to not feature the skull with the
Vic Rattlehead.
things. Yeah,
Vic Rattlehead.
exactly right. Is it, or am I?
No, you're right.
Looking at it wrong.
No, that's the 1st album that doesn't have it. He's on the back cover. He's got like the abacus with the skulls, and he's like moving the abacus skulls over.
Gotcha.
So he's on the back cover. But anyways, yeah, there you go with it. And he's done like a whole bunch of other ones too, like Aerosmith Get a Grip album cover, like some of those.
That's a good one.
So he's pretty well known, and he's Canadian. So there you go.
Ah.
Even better.
Yes, indeed. That's it for now. I got a few more, but I'll save them for later.
Good.
Where are we going now? You want to keep going into
got-
euthanasia, and you want to keep breaking down the? Or does it get dicey after this?
It gets dicey, man. I mean,
this is where
there's too much drugs, too much. I don't know that I care. I mean, it's cool that it. When you look at Rust in Peace, Countdown to Extinction, Euthanasia, Cryptic Writings, and Risk, all with Marty Friedman before he left in '99. But just the material wasn't strong enough. After Rust in Peace and then Countdown to Extinction. So
Did you guys find a good album after that?
yes.
What else? When does it get better? Because I didn't go all the way down.
I went through everything. For me personally, it's when Chris Broderick joined the band in 2008. So that would have been Endgame. So he did Endgame. He did
13.
Everything up to 13. Yeah, Endgame, 13, and Super Collider.
Okay.
Endgame was pretty solid. 13 was solid. Super Collider was shit. I still can't listen to that thing. I've tried, and this last week I've gone front to back on every Megadeth album, including that one, at least 3 times this week. And I can't digest this album. It's just
Why are you punishing yourself, man? If it's bad, it's bad.
I have to find something. I don't know. I tried to find something good, and I couldn't. So
It's admirable.
Yeah.
I tried, man. I tried.
You're serious.
You're the
man.
guy to talk to about this right now. So, yeah. And then did you listen to like the recent stuff? Like I listened to the 2022 album, but I didn't listen to anything else. After that.
Dystopia, great album. And so that was 2016.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Sick, Dying, and the Dead, 2022.
Sick, Dying, the Dead is really good.
Really good.
Dystopia was unreal because it had Chris Adler on drums from.
Really? I
yes,
knew that actually.
On the whole album.
Lamb of God,
So
man. That
good,
guy
man,
is
from Lamb of God.
fucking genius.
So I mean that is such a strong album. Yeah, I mean you go to Endgame and then you can kind of skip right to Dystopia, and it's solid front to back, and then you get into the newest album and it seems to be they're riding high on an amazing album. Like it seems to be everybody's just jumping aboard and loving it and giving all the accolades. So
It's great apart from the fact that he sounds like Alice Cooper.
Totally. And going back all the way to the beginning, the reason why I did not, I couldn't get deep into Megadeth is the vocals. I just can't do it. Like it's painful.
Yeah.
The lyrics are awesome. Your song crafting is great. Your cover art is great. Your live performances are great. I just can't get the.
You got it, man. Yeah. But isn't there a point like
hello me? Here's me.
it's
me
good.
again.
It's so good. Like I've had the same thing with Rush. I could not listen to Rush. Could
totally.
not do it. Geddy Lee is fine. When you really break it down, the band itself is there's so many layers, and singing is only one aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. And when you take a look at it from that perspective, I could tolerate it. And it's the same thing with Megadeth. I think there's certain parts where I'm like, this is almost comical, and I kind of like it because it's different, right? Yeah. It's like Anthrax. Like you're just like, these guys are it's awesome, and then you hear the dude sing. Sorry, I don't know his name, and you're like, okay, it's kind of different, but that's
it's not the vocal you would want for a thrash band.
Yeah.
You think Anthrax, and it's just this other dude.
Yeah,
doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, he didn't even, I mean, Dave didn't even want to sing, right? Like they had another guy, Billy Bonds, I think was his name, lined up, and then the story that I read was that he showed up to rehearsal one day with eye makeup on, and Dave fired him on the spot. He's like, that guy can't be the face of Megadeth, so fired him, and then he started learning how to sing, and so that's when the other Dave said, why don't you start learning how to sing? So then he's like, he said he couldn't figure out how to do like the timing of like when he takes a breath and like when he like sings. So that's why it sounds so forced. He was never properly trained, and then it just came out like that. And then there's no looking back.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean,
the sound.
like going back to Countdown to Extinction and like Sweating Bullets is probably one of my favorite Megadeth tracks as far as like
Yep.
Dave Mustaine's vocal or like his
Yep.
not vocals. Yeah, exactly. Not his lyrics, but his vocals. How he
Right.
approaches it. It's just comic booky.
Yeah, he's got like he's like telling a story sometimes, like kind of like laughing in the background, telling stories,
Yeah.
and then other times he's trying to sing, like even in Symphony of Destruction, he's trying to sing, like it's he's got a totally different approach to vocals, and that's maybe unorthodox, maybe that's the way it is, right? Like sometimes it's nice to throw somebody on an instrument they have no idea what they're doing, and then sometimes something good comes out, right? And sometimes not.
Sometimes not. Yeah, it's tough when it's what 15 albums. Like
16 studio albums, man. I mean, that's a huge.
I mean,
that's a big discography. Metallica doesn't have that many studio albums.
And they don't have any that many good albums.
Yeah, exactly, right?
yeah. But I mean, I think that's the. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm going down the guitar road next. So finish your thought, and then I'm going down guitars after this.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. All right. I mean, I was just gonna say, I think like the butt end, like the jokes, the butt end of the joke is Dave Mustaine himself. Not only does he sound like a guy playing Dungeons and Dragons and taking himself way too seriously, but it kind of does set them apart, right? It almost transcends this thrash label that they have. They're not just a band playing, guitars through Marshalls, super fast. There's more to it than that, which I think is what has, given them longevity.
Totally.
Great
Given
description.
him,
Great description.
given him
Unique, man.
longevity.
It's unique. That's the
Dungeons
thing.
and
It's
Dragons.
uniqueness. I mean, Dungeons and
That's like taking
Dragons
himself too
and
seriously.
Rush.
Okay, so this guy goes from BC Rich to Jackson to ESP to
Yep.
Dean to Gibson
Yeah.
to
Dean to
Sears. Like what is this? Like anybody that obviously is flashing him the dollar signs he's going with. So like obviously he has no allegiances to any guitars at all.
Well, I don't know, man. The Jacksons were a long time. He used those for fucking since the start.
The King V ones
and then
so dope though.
What's that?
He used the King V1.
The King V's, yeah.
Yeah.
So he had his custom King V, and those were killer.
Oh, so good.
I mean, you got
Yeah.
with the Jacksons, and then he bumps along and he does this ESP thing for It's a Blip in Time.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Dean, and he's been the head flagship guy from Dean, other than Dimebag, but.
Something happened with
he was-
Dean. Something happened with
Yeah.
Dean, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Well, and Gibson just paid him all the money. I mean,
Yeah.
they're buying everybody out.
Yeah.
They're just here's money. Let's do another thing. What's his name from Lamb of God? He's got his new Gibson signature. Like everybody's jumping aboard.
Yeah, I think when you take a look at a lot of the sort of more contemporary artists out there, and they don't have to be pop artists, but a lot of people are playing Fenders or other types of guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Gibson had its day in the sun, and it almost seems like it's your dad's guitar in a way. I think they needed to do something. They needed to get some people on board.
Definitely.
And Mustaine, that was a weird one. But I know that Dean was doing some weirdness as far as like they're not doing the Dimebag guitars anymore.
Yeah, no, they got sued for that.
Yeah.
Dimebag's wife is starting. It's all in the works for an actual Dime guitar
Really?
run. Yeah, it's in the works. I mean, within the next year or so, it should be out. So
Yeah.
Okay, so then I was going to ask you guys then, as far as like we've talked about guitar players and rankings and stuff, and I mean, is Dave Mustaine must be up on the list for as far as
He's way up.
guitar players, yeah.
He's way up. When you look at the amount of guitar shred wankery on an album, on a thrash or any sort of, I can't think of another band other than Megadeth that it's just solo after solo.
That's true.
Like it's so full of just shred wanking. It's all brilliant and it's all amazing, but wow.
This is the thing that kind of surprised me is the fact that Dave Mustaine labels himself as he's a rhythm guitar player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
So-
and I saw him on lists of like top rhythm guitar players of all time, and I didn't really
Yeah.
understand that either, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing the majority of the wankery.
Well, that's the thing. It's a mix between him and he's always had these exceptional, brilliant side guitar players,
Yeah.
quote unquote lead guitar players, but they're both sharing the spotlight for the most
Yeah, like
part.
he's playing solos too, right?
Oh yeah, pushing
Totally.
the bar,
Yeah.
putting the bar up super high.
Totally. Well, you look at Kill 'Em All of those solos were his.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, they Metallica hired Kurt because he could play Mustaine solos. So, yeah.
I wonder if he would have, if Kirk would have come in and changed the solos, if he would have been like more pissed or less pissed about that. You know what I mean? Like,
probably a little less.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's just carrying this hatred and just burning through 40 some odd years.
I mean, it's not like he did himself any favors though either, right? Like, it's not like they kicked him
no.
out because they didn't like his hair. Like, he did kind of brought it upon himself, right? Like, they were tired of his
Yeah.
BS and threw
Being an
him out.
angry drunk
Yeah, like,
and-
that was
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But you learn your lesson. But then, I mean, this is a happy ending. The guy ended up, like you said, he made it. He did it. So
But he's still dwelling in the past. It's like this old girlfriend that dumped him, and every opportunity he tries to figure out a way to get back with her. And this is 40 years later, and he's still trying to get back with her.
Or
When you look at a couple of the live Metallica shows where they have brought him on stage,
yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, we're back together," and it's after all these years we have our relationship again, and then he's talking. After he gets off the stage, we're going to start working on some new things, and the dudes from Metallica, like, no, we're not.
oh man, it's like a daytime soap opera. I think it's like it's maybe a little bit contrived to get
I don't think
clicks,
so,
to get
man.
headlines
He's
and
bonkers.
clicks.
He's bonkers, though.
Do you
man.
really
I mean,
think that he's after
yes.
this amount
Yes.
of time, he's still jelly over the
do.
1983 breakup?
He is scarred, scarred for life, and it's not even. This is what comes back to the jokes and the memes and whatnot. But I don't think it's a show.
It's kept them in our mouths, that's for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
I got a couple more hot facts for you.
Hot facts.
Hot facts.
Bring them in now. The first band to have their own official website.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Launched in what year? 1994.
I would have thought Nine Inch Nails would have had that shit. Like, they would have had like
They weren't big enough for that at that point.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Nine Inch Nails were not big enough. I mean, they were just starting to make waves.
first band.
what was it called? Megadeth.org.
No, Megadeth. Dave Mustaine got that Megadeth.com when the internet was invented. He put that down.
You can have the org and the com. I think
Megadeth.net.
I'm going to go with the com. Yeah, .net.
Yeah. He also went on Rock and Roll Jeopardy. He played against George Clinton and Moon Unit Zappa and absolutely
Wow.
waxed the floor with both of them.
I bet he
Oh,
did.
he
Wow.
just won by like a landslide.
He was the only sober guy out of the three of
Oh,
them.
right. I mean, George Clinton. I mean, you know, come on. That's my hot facts for
That's
today.
a hot fact, man.
It is a hot fact.
It's a good one.
There's one other hot fact that I think you missed.
Go ahead.
Is Megadeth money?
Oh, it's crypto.
Megadeth crypto? Well, are they not like the first and or only band to have their own crypto?
They must be. They must be one of the. Yeah.
So-
I mean, does he have the NFTs going too?
Oh,
Yeah,
probably.
He must. He knows.
Probably.
His website. The website's pretty
But-
good actually now too. It's loaded. He's got lots of material on there.
Totally.
Yeah.
And none of it is fungible.
No.
Whatever the fuck fungible is, but it's non-fungible.
Non. I've got this set up now where I just listen to like the music we're talking about while we're doing it. So it's just this personal soundtrack of Countdown to Extinction while we've been talking through this whole thing.
I gotta figure out how to do that on
It's
mine.
brilliant, man.
Walk me through it after the
Yeah,
cast.
it just kind of sets the mood for what you're listening to and talking about. Actually, it's pretty good.
Do you have it in one ear or you have it in both just turned down?
Both, yeah. I can just adjust that level and have that down low and hear you guys up high.
Wicked.
It's pretty good. Do we got anything else to say about Dave Mustaine and Megadeth?
Nah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's all right. That's pretty good. 41 minutes on that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Let's end it there then.
All right. We want you guys to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. Keep it going. Keep it strong because we're having a great time entertaining you guys with B-Sides and Beers podcast.